Hello, good afternoon. As we gather here during COP28, one of the largest climate conferences, I welcome you all to Entrepreneurship Sports Generation Climate Track Finals. We are here at the Future Mobility Hub, a 2,000 square feet innovation space at the MCC, and we are extremely delighted to have you all here. We will start with a short video. Entrepreneurship as sport. That is the entire concept, something that we will delve deeper into. I just welcome you all very warmly, and now I would request Anne to come on stage and speak a few words. Thank you.
So first of all, a big warm welcome to a historical moment to be at COP. I think we all think it's very difficult because there are so many people in town. But it's also a moment I think we all enjoy really to be here. I think historically we will look back to this COP28 in Dubai. So well done for all of you. I know some of you just came and some of you have been here for a few days. So this space we are in here right now is actually not just created for this moment. It is open for this moment, but it is actually a permanent space at the Supercool Center. Opened this morning, and after we leave Dubai, some of you of course live in Dubai, this space here will be open going forward. So big thanks to the Supercool Center, big thanks to the citizen group, Sergio Del Vega, who run it, and Sven, who is part of that also, that we are allowed to host. And for me, being part of the team with Shift, a lot of time we have done this here has been more in a virtual setting, so actually be able to do it in real life at this moment is actually really exciting. And another exciting thing is that we were able to really get some of the most and best, and that now we'll see who is the best climate technology startups that actually is here at COP. I know many of you have been working hard, have been competing before you came here, and of course here to position your different solutions. And it must be very inspiring for you because you can see there's a big need for this, of course. This space here is open today. We run onto the 10th, and there's a number of partners involved. So it is the Supercool Center Citizen Group, but it's also Form E, Extreme E. We actually have a dedicated sports day coming up on the rest day for sports here. Every day there's programming on transport, energy, industries. Tomorrow's big gender equality day. So we also have pop culture is one of the partners, Accelerator is one of the partners. So we are a lot of people that has brought this together. I'm really excited to have Mr. Shiv Kimble, the Executive Chairman of tGELF and also the Vice Chairman of Sunco, to be with us. And he will say a couple of words. It is his vision and passion that bring us together, and I'm really delighted that he could be here in person and be together with us. So, and not do the virtual for one time, but do it in real life. So thank you so much.
It's a great pleasure to be here, and we've been doing this virtually because it started during COVID, and so we started with the idea that if you can find entrepreneurs and in every city, in every town, who are trying to do things. If you can support them with the best local leadership and encourage them to go to the national finals and then the Asian finals and the global finals, to make it a sporting kind of energy, you can actually create much more enthusiasm and entrepreneurial talent. And so that's been the idea. Our foundation is part of the Nandan Kemkar Foundation, which is an old foundation, one of the 3 foundations working in climate in India from the beginning. The Tata Foundation, the Godrej Foundation, and our foundation started working in climate-related things. My brother went to COP in Rio in '92, and that's when he got passionate about the climate journey. This division of our foundation is called the Global Education and Leadership Foundation, which has really 3 core activities. The first is a curriculum to teach young people to be ethical, altruistic leaders. So we now reach 3 million kids a year. We've trained 25 million kids. And when we met our Prime Minister's office, they said, I'm glad your pilot program is working. Because coming from India, 3 million is not a big number. So they need us to raise the game. But 3 million is a reasonably large number of young people that we train every year. And we're growing that. And it's all about real leadership with ethics, altruism, decisive action, global citizenship, and how do they think about being curators and stewards of the world we live in. The second thing we do is all about entrepreneurship, because we believe entrepreneurs create jobs, entrepreneurs solve problems, entrepreneurs become job creators rather than job takers. And I think the technology bonanza that's coming up in the world today is something that entrepreneurs are able to harness and convert into solutions for the big issues of our times. And I think climate is the really defining issue of this next decade or 2, and perhaps longer. But I think it's critical that we really put all our best entrepreneurial energy into solving those problems as soon as possible. And in that context, there's a third activity called Our Planet, which is bringing together scientists, bringing together leaders in the field. We just started that this year to think really about the challenges of climate and connect that to the entrepreneurship and the education. So education, entrepreneurship, and environment, if we can create a synergistic ecosystem of those things, that's really what our mission is, to create communities to solve problems at scale. I've been doing a bunch of things for a while. So 2008 we launched our curriculum, and we, as I said, trained about 25 million children. Our target is to grow that significantly. We brought Global Citizen to India. Coldplay, Jay-Z, and others came to India and raised $6.4 billion, $6.3 billion for water, sanitation, hygiene, gender equality, and education. Again, water, sanitation, hygiene, and all these issues are all connected actually. Health, all these issues connect to climate issues in many ways at a fundamental level. We then helped the Global Entrepreneurship Summit get executed in India in 2017, and in 2018 we launched a program to reach tier 3 cities and towns and villages with a bus, with a curriculum to encourage entrepreneurs, as they were kind of left out of the ecosystem in many ways. In 2019 we helped launch the Entrepreneurship World Cup in Saudi, in the Kingdom, and then in 2020 we launched Entrepreneurship Sports Generation, which we've been growing every year. And in 2023 we brought Values 20 to India. We launched Values 20 in 2018, and Values 20 is about underpinning the G20 with a set of values around entrepreneurship, education, environment, and other things, and really creating an ecosystem which becomes synergistic. Next. Our Planet is an open, decentralized marketplace connecting climate conscious stakeholders. We're already building the platform to allow scientists to access funds much more quickly than they're doing at the moment. They have to go through a long process to get funding. And we think that's not good enough at the moment with what's needed. How do we accelerate climate action for all the SDGs as soon as possible? And so we're trying to do that. And I went to Antarctica and spent 10 days there at the beginning of this year, and I was very moved and shocked by the rate of ice melt, and other things. And I think we've not been very good citizens of this planet over the last 50 years, or maybe more than that. We need to now move on to solve those issues. Next one. Entrepreneurship Sports Generation, I mentioned we work in 190 countries. We curate over $1 billion of rewards. We have 350 perks and rewards partners with us, and over $1 million entrepreneurs. We're going to grow that every year. Think a little bit about like the World Cup of entrepreneurship. It's a sports movement. Young people enjoy it, have fun, and you can fail, you can start again. It's fun. It's not a zero-sum game. Next one. So we wanted to do a climate track for Entrepreneurship Sports Generation and launch it here this year. So it's just the beginning of this journey. I think in a few years we'll see this become much more sophisticated and much more robust and much deeper. And the climate track will probably have many different sub-tracks depending on what we're doing, risk mitigation, etc. But this is just the first thing, so I'm very excited to have our entrepreneurs here to start and to present, and I'm very grateful to everyone to help organize this, and particularly to our jury members who are taking a lot of very precious time from this crazy week to give us time to really help us with selecting, encouraging and guiding these young entrepreneurs. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
I want you all to get excited because we're going to move on to the competition now. So all the entrepreneurs and the judges, let's get ready. Before we begin, I would just like to take you through some basic rules. So as you all know, there's going to be a 3-minute pitch followed by a 3-minute question and answer round by the jury members. There is going to be a timekeeper right in front of you who's going to sort of nudge you to move faster if you're lagging behind, so please be mindful of the time. And you will be controlling your own presentation. There will be a clicker that will be handed over to you, and so you will be basically managing your presentation. I would now like to take a moment to introduce our esteemed jury members, beginning with Sven. Sven Hackman is the Chief Strategy Officer for Citizens Companies and its portfolio businesses, including Super Cool Mobility Centers. He drives the company's visions for expansion and oversees the implementation of business objectives. With over 20 years of expertise in growth strategy, business transformation, portfolio diversification, market expansion and business development, Sven previously supported startups through internalization as a managing partner at Rapid Venture Partners. We welcome you, Sven. Now we would move on to Mary Jo, Global Investor Development Director at New Energy Nexus. Mary Jo is a seasoned professional with over 25 years of experience in driving impactful initiatives globally. As the Global Investor Development Director at New Energy Nexus, she plays a pivotal role in supporting diverse, clean energy entrepreneurs from emerging tech to deployment and adoption. We welcome you, Mary. Now I would move on to proceed. I would proceed with Ms. Parul Madan, Managing Partner, Quake Venture Partners. Parul Madan is a distinguished serial entrepreneur and investor, illuminating pathways for female leaders in the traditionally male-dominated sector of telecommunications, software, and investment. In each venture, whether in healthcare or edtech, Parul has not only demonstrated her acumen in identifying market potentials, but also showcased her prowess in leadership and strategic innovation. We welcome you, Parul. I would quickly now proceed to announcing the way the startups are lined up, so you all are prepared accordingly. We would begin with AI Protein, then we would move on to Boomitra, then Carbon Base, Eco STP Technologies would be next, then it would be followed by OnZync, then Kazam, and Tech Uncorked. So we have 7 entrepreneurs. Jury members, are you ready? So let's begin without any further ado the competition, and I would now like to invite AI Protein to please come on stage. and begin your pitch. All the best.
So vegan, affordable, sustainable, and AI. Unconventional mix, right? I'm Mohammed, and this is Alpha Team, where we take pride in being unconventional. The global population is exploding, as it's expected to reach 10 billion people by 2050, and the meat production is not sufficient. And of course, we cannot forget about the devastating climate effect that meat cultivation farms have on our environment. Hence, we went and took a look at the market, and we found that the plant-based protein market is actually exploding, with BCG forecasting that the alternative protein market would reach 295 billion by 2035. That's why we decided to provide our protein powders that is not only affordable, but is gluten-free, organic, and non-GMO. Let me give you an insight about our value chain. We pride ourselves by being a farm-to-factory startup, which means that we grow our own species up to providing our protein powders to our target audience of vegan cheese and plant-based meat manufacturers. How did we crack it, you might ask? So, we cultivate our species in a hybrid environment. Such environment is governed by our AI system, our autonomous intelligent system, to then be extracted by our patentable protein extraction technology. What's the effect on our climate? So, by doing this, we produce 200 times less greenhouse gases, we use 30 times less water, and we have efficient unit economics by up to 5 to 7x lower on large scale. Our tech was actually validated by numerous prestigious names, such as the UN, European Union, and AWS, to name a few, collecting up to 150K in non-dilutive funding and services along the process. That's not all. To have the cherry on the top, our species are not only competitive in nutritional yield, but also we do not need any arable lands or even fresh water. We use brackish water and we retain up to 85% of it. And of course, we have those SDGs at our core that we live in. Behind all of this is a team of founders that has experience in drug design, biotech, R&D, and business development, backed by an elite advisors with combined experience of up to 100 years in water management, algae cultivation, and process engineering. Our ask will be 500K, which we have 40% already secured and committed. And lastly, allow me to introduce some names that have mentored, coached, and validated our business strategy, such as 500 and Plug and Play. Thank you, and we join us in making the world a slightly more sustainable place.
Thank you so much, AI Protein, for that pitch. I would now request jury members to start with the Q&A round. Sven, would you like to begin?
Thank you. Outstanding pitch, and definitely a topic that I've been tracking closely. Just for clarification, you mentioned that your IP is patented, Bill, or is it patented? Okay, thank you for that. And then the other question that I had is the validation. You stated that it's validated by AWS and the UN. What does that validation include?
Okay, so for example, when it comes to the UN, we actually participate in the UN Frontier Tech Award, okay? So, and they validated our technology, which we went through due diligence when it comes to tech and so on, to get everything that comes to the AI part. Yeah.
Thank you, Mohammed. That was amazing presentation and really inspiring what you just created here. My question would be around traction. Would you talk a little bit about where you are with your product, at what stage it is, do you have customers, or what is your go-to-market? Just talk a little bit on that.
Okay, so we're mainly targeting the Western European market and the MENA region. When it comes to traction, we're pre-revenue stage. We did actually validate our species by having the European partner, where we sold 2 batches to qualify the quality of our powders. And at the moment, we're going through the quality assurance and certificate that takes around 18 months to 24 months to actually be able to legally sell in the Western European market. And at the moment, we have an MOU and we have a partnership with a local partner in Egypt that we're going to support with our powers.
Thank you again. Congratulations on a great presentation. I have a question on you're saying it uses AI in the product growth, but what other supply and what's the supply chain needed to create your end product? And where is that? Like I didn't catch what the actual, if it's all chemically made in a lab, if there's some sort of inputs that you have that go into it, and then how that differentiates what's in the market currently in these generated.
Okay, great. So let me start with the cultivation process. We grow our own species. We use microalgae and floating plants. Okay, we cultivate them in a system that is similar to aquaponic. That actually we share the nutrients between those species. That's why it's a hybrid system, and is governed by AI in an autonomous intelligent system. That actually, whenever any problem happens in our system, it automatically neutralizes such problem using dosers that are implemented in our system. Then it goes through the protein extraction technology that is patentable, that is developed by us, to then provide the raw protein powder that is integrated in vegan cheese or as a methyl cellulose replacement in plant-based meat. I hope this.
Okay, perfect. Any more follow-up questions? Just from the jury members, I'm sorry. All right. So with that, then we would conclude AI protein and move to the next one. Thank you so much for your pitch. Thank you, jury members, for your question and answers. We would now proceed to the next startup, that is Bhumitra. We welcome you. All the best for your pitch.
My name is Alok Murthy and I'm the founder and CEO of Bhumitra. And Bhumitra means friend of the earth in Sanskrit, and that is who we are. How did I get here? It started all about 7 years ago. I was traveling through a small village in South India when I saw a funeral procession. That year the monsoon rains had failed, and along with it the crop yields, and a farmer had committed suicide. And that got me thinking, why do farmers have to struggle like this even in the 21st century, and if there's anything that they can do to fight back? And that's what led us to Bhumitra. Where at Bhumitra, we are actually equipping farmers with essentially what is a gigaton scale solution to climate change. We are often confronted with megaton scale solutions. We need a gigaton scale one, and that's where Bhumitra comes in. We are the leading international carbon removal marketplace powered by innovative technology that is transforming agricultural practices. And this year we won the Earthshot Prize as well. We help farmers alongside our partners to adopt improved agricultural practices that sequester carbon in soils. Then we use satellites and AI to measure that and turn it into third-party certified, internationally recognized carbon removal credits, which we then sell to corporations and governments around the world and return the majority of the payments back to the farmers as an additional income for them, and the vast majority back to the local communities. And Bhumitra makes a percentage, that's our business model, but the vast majority goes back to the local communities. And this is happening worldwide for us right now. 2 million plus acres in Mexico, 100,000 plus farmers in India, and also work in Kenya and also parts of South America as well. And this is enabled by two things. One of them is our technology. Using satellites, 100 plus satellites alongside our artificial intelligence that we have trained, we are able to reduce the cost of measurement of soil carbon levels and other soil properties by over 99%. And that enables us to truly drive down the cost and scale this. And secondly, we are backed by very awesome partners who help us with the last mile with the farmers, to reach the farmers, to enroll them, get them doing the good practice, sequestering carbon and turning it into carbon credits, including folks such as corporations, NGOs, IGOs like the World Food Program and the UN, various UN bodies, Rabobank, many others. We have dozens of partners from around the world. And our key stakeholders at the end of the day are the farmers, our partners, and of course, the planet. And our vision here is that in the near future, every single farmer will be able to be a key part of the climate solution. And by 2030, we'll be able to work with all of them to really move the needle on climate change on a gigaton scale. Thank you.
Thank you so much. for your pitch. Can I take the clicker? Okay. Now I would request the jury members to begin with the question and answers. Mary, why don't you begin?
Thank you so much for your pitch. It was great. I'd love to learn a little bit more about your background and the team that's with you and who you're working with. The farmers sound great, but tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah,
the experience that you guys have had in this space.
Yeah. So I'm the founder and CEO. I'm supported by a great team now. There's almost 60 people. I did exclude the team slide because I thought it was too short, too much for a 3-minute pitch. But yeah, so my background, I did my undergraduate at the California Institute of Technology and graduate studies at Stanford University. I was technically doing a PhD at Stanford, but then I dropped out. And now it's hard for me to go back after all the stuff that we're doing. We have a great team of both seasoned people on our executive team and very motivated people on the ground as well. So our CFO has 10 plus years of experience in project development. Our COO has managed companies for 20 plus years. And our director of R&D has been in climate tech startups for 15 plus years. And so, yeah, we have a great executive team and great motivated people beyond our executive team as well, around the world.
Very impressive presentation. You already, as a startup, have a global presence and growing. So I'm curious if you could speak to how are you going to scale and also engage more farmers. I mean, where does deal flow come from, and how are you going to go about that?
Yeah, so there's always more partners who we have to go and reach out to and bring on. Of course, we have certain partners now, like I showed you in the slides, but there's definitely more partners that we're trying to bring on continuously. And the next phase for us is we are kind of a projects company. So that means we're able to access project finance. So these carbon projects, just like a solar or wind project, will access project finance. And that project finance will enable further farmer onboarding. The equity in the company enables us to expand our technology and other stuff, but the project finance enables us to scale to more farmers. So we're already starting to pursue that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. Very inspiring, going across the world and building that. So congratulations.
Thank you.
My question would be around the traceability of the process, and other than carbon, what else are you kind of tracking, or what you plan? What's your vision? And how do you see regulations being announced, like Indian government recently announced about the carbon trading? So how do you see that affecting your business or generally in this space?
Yeah, so that's of course a much longer conversation on the regulation part, but we do track many other parameters. You can see I'm wearing an SDG badge. Actually, the Goals House gave this to me because we actually track like 6 or 7 SDGs in every single of our projects, and we're even audited against the SDGs. Not just auditing the carbon part, but even the SDGs are audited against in our projects. And we're also tracking biodiversity, especially our grassland projects, where we're helping farmers, ranchers to restore grasslands. They have massive biodiversity benefits. There are endangered tortoises, there are endangered birds, all of their habitats are being conserved in these grasslands. And regarding the regulation, I'm very excited here at COP because I think this year there's going to be a lot of progress on carbon markets regulation announced at COP. So I'm excited about that. There'll actually be a good tailwind for our business after COP. Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
if there are no follow-up questions from the jury, then we can conclude this pitch. Thank you so much. All right. Now we would move to the next startup, Carbon Base.
Hi everyone, thank you so much. I'm Maria, the CEO of Carbon Base. We're trying to help individuals and enterprises to transition into climate change, and we want to build a modern carbon reduction economy. So we're building a global climate registry in partnership with the Hedera Foundation. We also collaborated with our partner Impact X. Just to talk about a bit about the importance of carbon markets, at the moment McKinsey is evaluating carbon voluntary markets to be 50 billion by 2030. It just to give you some of the ecosystem, we have the registries, which is like, think about it like central banks for carbon credits. And we have at the moment Variable Standard, Climate Action, or American Carbon Registry. We have developers, which are the ones doing this amazing work, trying to save the planet, removing and avoiding CO2. And we have the auditors, which helps to validate or validate the carbon credits. And then the buyers in the ecosystem as well, which will be buying the carbon credits. At the moment as well, there is a lot of problems with carbon markets, as we have seen from the Guardian report that Vera, 95% of their carbon credits were actually worthless. So what we need to do next is trying to return the trust on the carbon markets. So the way we want to do it is by powering our carbon registry in technology. Another thing that we want to do, as you can see from this map, all the carbon registries at the moment are based in the US, in the US, and in Europe. There is not a real competitor in terms of a base in Asia at the moment, in Asia. So what we want to do is just have that base to serve a very valuable market. And you will see as well from my next one, at the moment, 69% of the projects from all these carbon registries is coming from Asia. And as well, if you look about the emissions, China is probably 27% of the emissions. Finally, I would like to talk a bit about our technology. So the carbon registry will be based in a decentralized ledger, and we want to do is it will be a very powerful tool for management, and will bring a lot of benefits to the project developers in terms of submitting their forms, so trying to as well to get a bit of traction around data management. So we will use IoT sensors, satellite image to really capture data, but as well send data to the registry. And then we also will, hopefully, this workflow will help traceability and accountability on the carbon credits. Finally, that's it, right? Sorry, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
All
your
right, so
presentation.
then, yes, please proceed.
So, sorry, I just jumped the gun here. So, just in the interest of time, quick question about your team. Why you? What's the credibility with your team that you can talk to that?
About my team, who's behind my team? Yeah. So traditionally, carbon-based, we are a team that has been in Asia since 2020. We've concentrating in calculating carbon emissions for all corporates, events, and we have worked really hard to get a lot of synergies with say the likes of WWF. And if you go back to history, Gold Standard was actually founded with a good kind of the blessing of WWF, and that's where we think in terms of we look at it as an ecosystem, having everybody in a puzzle or everybody together, kind of doing the carbon registry. But we have, of course, carbon managers, project developers, software developers, and we are with Impact X as well in terms of the standard association as well, the IEEE. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. For clarification, can you speak to your product differentiation and to the competition? Obviously, it's the emerging markets. You did state that you're focused on the Asian base.
Yeah.
But just curious, who do you compete with, and how do you see that in the context of your growth and ability to secure financing as a startup?
Of course, people would say, what would you want to have a competitor such as very established Vera and Gold Standard? So there's a few things. First of all, we know what are the problems on the carbon markets, which has been accountability, traceability. And if you talk to project developers, the first thing they say to you, it takes about 22 to 24 months to validate a project. And as well, they will actually lose, some of them if they're very small, they would actually not survive if they cannot monetize that. Another thing is fees, and fees is high because you don't have the technology. They cannot even send a request because it will take, or just submit a PDF form. There's not a current data or a more automation of data. So we think technology will help all eliminate that. So funny enough, outside of that, Vera and Goldstein have approaches to help them digitalize that. So we, for the moment, we're going to be on our own, but they also recognize that technology is an important thing that has to change because whatever they're doing is very traditional. Second of all, as from the map, we think to have a base in Asia, so it's not only from terms of time zone, but the language is something that is very important. A lot of the project developers in Indonesia, Malaysia, they don't speak the language, so we have a team as well, or in China, that we have a team that will be able to communicate, and hopefully, there is a lot of bias as well on that terms. They have sent even queries to Vera or Goldstein, they haven't been able to get a confirmation email. So that from those 2 points of view, we think we have a strong position. And in what also we think as well, the cake is very big. The more players are actually bringing value and bringing a lot of these small developers, I think it will be great.
Great, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate your pitch and what you're doing and working on. If you could talk a little bit more about where you are in the process as far as customers, and then if you're in a fundraising stage,
yes,
and what you're looking to do.
Absolutely, thank you. Yes, so we are in the pilot stage, so we finished the platform and it's live. So at the moment, the reason why we're here is to try to engage with a lot of project developers. So we already have engaged with Ampere, Earthwood, and Recarbon for our auditors. So we have signed MOUs with them, and we do have project developers that have a presence in China with some projects in Uganda and biogas projects in China as well. But here, what we're trying to do is understand the ecosystem. For example, we are called Global Climate Registry because we think there's a lot of very good project developers in Latin America. So my job as being from Mexico myself, so is trying to connect with all these great project developers, understanding the constraints to enter the market, and how if they want to, if they have any obstacles going to the north, trying to get these projects, if they want to come with us, we help them with technology and try to accelerate that process from that point of view. So we are in the process of welcoming everybody and trying to understand how we can grow with different parties in the world. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We would now proceed with the next startup, and I would like to welcome EcoSTP Technologies to please take the stage.
Hello, my name is Tarun. I'm from Bangalore, India. My first slide, lake burning. You would have heard this lake, seen this lake. I live in the lake, by the way. It burns once in a while. Last time it burned for 14 hours non-stop. I don't want to go deep on it. It burned because sewage that comes in. Sewage, 400 million liters of sewage comes every single day to this lake. And why is the sewage coming? Because the sewage treatment technology is not good in many parts of the world. It's completely broken. It's really broken. So the minister says 65% doesn't work or 70% work, but actually 85% of the STPs don't work. 85% doesn't work. That's the situation we are in today. And it's not only India, it's everywhere. It's all over the place. It is many places. It's a very rapid urbanization is a big issue. So we said, how did nature solve this problem? All this and the only tech available today is to blow air through fecal matter. That's how the only tech, last 100 years. That's what we're trying to disrupt. You blow air through fecal matter using big motors, big bore motors. So how did nature solve this problem? So that's why we thought maybe we'll look into cow, a good old cow, anaerobic digestion, which is there in a septic tank, which is very abundant in a cow's stomach, which we replicate. We've got a lot of help globally. I started with the Biomimicry Institute based in US, Montana. Where we started a grant. So that's what we do. We sell a license called EcoSTP kit. So buy the kit, you add a concrete, STP is ready. That's what we sell. And it's not an idea. We sell all over India. Mostly B2B, real estate developers and schools, colleges, etc. We sell. Yeah, so I'll talk more about the cow. Right? This is a BBC documentary done on the cow stomach and EcoSTP sounding back. BBC is our best sales person now. Right? So this is the product. As you see, there are 3 stages. Stage 1, 2, 3. It's a series of stacks of tanks, civil tanks, and the water flows from one to another one, sewage. And we put our custom bacteria and the design and get treated off the way. This is by gravity, no moving parts at all. And we supply the kit, we supply the design how to do it. So we don't make this whole thing end to end. We only give the license, and that's how we're able to scale. So like this, how what is it, the guts of a cow looks like. Lots of contraptions, lot of clever engineering, but it's only one time. You just put all things. So we give the step-by-step Lego type design, and we are based on Bangalore, and we recently deployed in Ladakh from Bangalore. So they look at the step-by-step instructions and get it all done. And once it's all done, this is how it looks like. STP is below. By the way, in many countries, unlike in Dubai, it's decentralized. It's a job of this building should have its own STP, many places. So this building should have an STP by law. So this STP below gets treated and then you use the water pipe. Now, I love this one. This one is a very amazing one in Bangalore again. A lot of people, media across the world has come. DW Germany recently came and studied. This water, what you see below the children's playground is the STP. And the wetland is the same. And this water is recycled back for flushing for over 4 years, over 1,000 times. Over 1,000 times. Time's up? All right.
I'm sorry. You can go on, complete your sentence and then.
Yeah, so that's what we sell, and we have customers all over India. Yeah, this stuff works. We have 200 plus customers all over India. We're profitable, we make an impact. We also make an impact. We have a lot of team. This is my team, and I stop here. Yeah.
All right. I'll take up the rest of the slides maybe through the questions. Sven, you want to start?
Water is one of my great passions. Unquenchable, if you've read it. So I would say what you've presented is of great interest to me. The feedback, I would say, the presentation didn't completely make sense to me. You're the kind of entrepreneur I'd like to sit down with and really study. I believe what you're embarking on, I have a sense of what it is. The afterthought of your amazing team, the afterthought of your partners should not be an afterthought. Okay. I have many questions. Yeah, thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, when more passionate about the lake thing, yeah. Just cut down to the problem and.
Yeah, no worries. It's great. Yeah, I see that you're already in the market. If you want to talk a little bit about the differentiation or the various competitors in this space, you were saying how you're looking to grow your business model as a licensing. But if you want to talk a little bit more about that process or where you are.
So in India we have companies like Thermax and Ion Exchange. They're the large companies. They make motor-based STPs. They are the competitors, right? And then, but the biggest market is for septic tanks and drains. It's easy to let out in a drain, so that's the biggest competition, really speaking. But the competition is the Thermax, Ion Exchange, and many players who make this motor-based STPs. So we go and tell them, developer, please use EcoSTP. We need more space, but we can recover the space and make it more sustainable. So that's a space we are in. That's a competition. And we are right now, there are few government entities competing with us, but we have a clear edge with the largest market share as of now.
Thank you so much. That's amazing and very inspiring, and congratulations for getting those great customers. Very quickly, where is your technology patented and what are you looking for right now with respect to scale?
Right. So the technology is patented in India, and we have multiple patents, multiple copyrights. The word EcoSTP is trademarked. So we have multiple modes in place, and that's what we have done. We applied for global patent, it's in progress, but right now the granted one is all in India. So right now we're selling mostly in India.
Is that your the market? That's what you look.
No, we are looking to Bangladesh, Africa, and other countries.
Okay.
So we started with Bangladesh, but India is such a big problem. So we're focusing on India now.
Okay.
So we from Ladakh to Trivandrum, we have customers all over India. 24 states, 200 plus customers in India. Now we're looking to global because it's a big issue in many places, and now we know how to deliver it very well from Bangalore.
And from a vision standpoint, where do you see the company in 5 years? Would you still be running it, or?
Yes. We have a plan done we treated 2 billion liters of sewage so far without using power, and we'll do 23 billion liters in 3 years' time. So that's a plan. We have a clear roadmap, and we're way on it. We'll definitely. And we measure on a daily basis how much sewage we reclaim.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, jury members. We would now proceed with the next startup. Would like to call on Zinc on stage.
Hi. Batteries, they're kind of boring, but they're the backbone of decarbonisation. If we can't keep up with the demand for batteries, we're in trouble. Lithium is not scaling fast enough. It's got supply issues, it's dominated by China, and there are also some safety issues. But lead acid, no one talks about lead acid. It is the boring, sleeping giant. It's a more than 400 gigawatt hours of global manufacturing capacity. So what we're looking at is, what if we could find a battery material that could take this boring thing and give it a makeover? We have a zinc anode that is a material that enables us to create zinc and nickel zinc batteries using existing factories. Our microsponge, which is the secret to our work, it doesn't short out, so we get more cycles. It has massive high surface area, so we have a lot more energy, equal to lithium ferrous phosphate. And it's cathode agnostic, so while we're starting with nickel zinc, we can go into other markets as well. The advantage for our customers, which are the lead acid manufacturers, is they get to triple their output without building a new factory. For 1/10 of the capex of going into a building a lithium factory, they have better margins on a lot higher sales. So what we're doing is we're catapulting all these folks down here who have low power batteries, and we're catapulting them to give 3 times the energy and 3 times the cycle life. So by them having NZinc inside, we help them with the conversion and we sell them the anodes. We're unlocking a $20 billion mobility and stationary market. We're not going after the long distance vehicles, but anything up to 200 kilometers, 2, 3, 4-wheel vehicles, as well as a lot of stationary applications. We have an incredibly deep team that have deep manufacturing and battery experience. We've won a bunch of awards. We've got senior advisors up the wazoo, and we also have a really industry consulting group that we work with, and that's where our traction is, because we're working with lead acid and nickel metal hydride manufacturers globally, with several of them to look at the conversion. In terms of the SDGs, really SDG 9 is our business model. Take existing industry, existing infrastructure, repower it to make something really valuable, let them suddenly become real contenders in the battery market instead of slowly losing their market. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. I would now request maybe Parul, you can begin.
Thank you, Deborah. That was amazing. Could you talk a little bit about your current stage of your product, and also maybe traction, customers and something like that?
Absolutely. So we're at TRL 6. We'll be TRL 7 first quarter next year. We have just finished building a pilot line. We've raised 10 million to date, and that's a mix of non-dilutive grants as well as investors, and our primary investor on our seed round is looking at leading our Series A as well. We are in the process of applying for additional funding to build a full-scale manufacturing. So that's kind of where we're at. We're working with lead acid manufacturers in Bangladesh, India, Malaysia, with an American factory and an American company. We're also working with Europe's largest nickel cadmium and nickel metal hydride manufacturer. So we're really kind of co-engineering with them, because their side of it is ensuring that they can convert their factories at a low capex, but also that our batteries fit in their enclosure, and we can kind of put this marriage together and make a really powerful product for them so they can really expand how they are in the market.
Fascinating presentation. And part of what I wanted to answer, you answered, and that is, using existing factories. Are there specific regional targets? I think you said Europe. Are there other markets that you're targeting in particular?
Lead acid batteries are so kind of clunky and heavy. The battery factories are global. We actually think some of our strongest markets will be Southeast Asia. For example, India is trying to get away from Chinese-based batteries and has a massive number of 2- and 3-wheel vehicles, as well as kind of short delivery vehicles. But really, I think any factory that is supplying lead acid and also has access to markets that are either stationary energy storage, like home energy storage, telecom backup, or is working in mobility, it's kind of, that's part of what's exciting, is it can really scale rapidly because there are these factories everywhere, and there's as much manufacturing capacity of lead acid globally as there is lithium, and we're effectively adding the potential of 800 gigawatt hours of manufacturing without building a single new factory.
And are you leveraging strategic investors, or what type of investors are you targeting?
So our current lead investor is a VC fund. We're being careful with strategics because we don't want to partner with one company and then have that put off other battery companies. So while we're working with companies on development, that's not where our funding is coming from.
Thank you. Amazing.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. That's a great presentation. And I just want to follow on the funding part. You said you're in the process of your Series A. Could you talk a little bit more about the size or where you're
Sure. So we've actually put it on hold a little until the middle of next year because we're, we've got the pilot line that we're getting up. We did just raise a small post-seed round that was all basically funded by existing investors because it is a tough market to raise, and hardware is so much slower than software in terms of being able to come to market. So we felt strategically it would be better for us to wait till mid next year. We are in the process of applying for RAMP, which is a $3 million grant in California, and we're applying for, I think, $10 million of ARPA-E funding. But both of those organizations have delayed grants by 6 months for reasons we don't understand. So, yeah, at the moment we've got runway that gets us well into the middle of next year, and that's when we're aiming for the Series A. And we're looking for, I think, around 25-ish million.
Thank you so much for your pitch. Great. So now we have another great startup called Kazam, who would be Kazam, sorry for the mispronunciation. So yes, we have Kazam on stage.
Let's begin. Hi, my name is Akshay. I am the co-founder and CEO of Kazam. Okay, so Kazam connects electric vehicles and its fueling infrastructure. So how many of you over here are actually confused whether there is going to be fast charging or swapping for your electric vehicles? Right? Most of us are, right? And we don't know what's going to come. So we are the unified platform that connects electric vehicles and its fueling infrastructure onto a single place, right? Today, Kazam is a de facto standard for all two-wheelers and three-wheelers in the country. We drive roughly around 10 million kilometers on a month-on-month basis on electric vehicles in India. Okay. Every parking spot in the future is going to be a parking, fueling spot, because electricity is distributed. It's in the socket right next to you, right? And we start focusing on getting fleets and the old school petrol pumps first to be electrified. So we focus on getting them first. With the vehicle OEMs, we start getting your home and offices to get it electrified. Today, you can connect fast chargers, swapping stations, everything onto our platform. Okay. What do you get as an enterprise? You get a complete command center, which you can control all of these charging stations from. You can now collect payments. You can restrict people who can come and use this charging station, and at the same time create multiple applications because of that connected layer. So, if somebody wants to do carbon management, you can get information from this, right? We also built our own hardware for the two-wheeler and three-wheeler space, and we made it open source. That's how we scale hardware very fast, right? So we have multiple partners who do that, and we wrote the protocol in India for everyone in India. And these are my customers. So I have the top 7 vehicle OEMs working with me. I have the top 2 oil and gas companies working with me. I have all the 3 e-commerce players in the country working and digitizing their electric fueling systems on Kazam. Our impact is roughly around 400 tons of carbon dioxide that we save per month. and roughly around 250,000 liters of oil. We do around 100K of revenue, which is growing almost 2x. I did 2x in like 3 months now. So this is the opportunity to convert $125 billion of investment that's going to happen just in India. Okay, that's how the scale is, and we are enabling the top 30 enterprises in the country. And these are some enterprises that are growing. So we did 10x in the last 1 year with these top customers that I have, and we project to do another 10x in the next couple of years. That's us. We are raising around $12 million. We've already invested close to $5 million in the last couple of years. The team which is building Kazam has built multiple startups before this. Paras built MSwipe. Today it's $500 million company, enabling POS. Weber built on the solar rooftop space, which puts up solar rooftops on residential zones. That's us. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mary, do you want to start with the questions?
Thank you very much. Really impressive. I'd love to learn a little bit more about the technology, and if it's patented, it seems like a great combination of what you're creating. So if you want to talk a little bit more about that, thanks.
Sure. So how do you solve for e-mobility, right? So there are 3 layers. One is the electric grid, from which you get information, from which you get electricity. Then you have the charger, and finally the vehicle. So energy has been flowing, in a very dumb, crude way. I just press a button and it starts, right? But there is no information that's growing downstream. The way humans function is we will all go back at 6 in the evening and plug our vehicles in. And an EV takes 10 times more energy than your house. So that's how much load you need, right? So we digitize this. What we do is on the charging station side, we created our own charger and we patented it, but we realized that it will not scale, so we made it open source. So today, India's standard called LEV-AC, which is Light Electric Vehicle AC Charger, is built on that patent, and we made it open source. On the software side of things, we've started working on a protocol called as UEI, which is Unified Energy Interface, very similar to UPI, and it is being built alongside the guys who built UPI in India, which is the digital payment infrastructure. So those are the 2 ways that we kind of do this happen.
Very impressive presentation. My question relates to market potential. I mean, you mentioned 125 billion in India alone in terms of, I think, conversions, you said. So while that is, focus is key, a huge number, what are your plans to grow outside of India? I mean, as we sit in this center in particular, and the 2- and 3-wheeler markets in particular is growing well beyond India, yes, something you could leverage. What are your plans there?
Very clear. I move along with my partners. So we just grow alongside with our existing customers. TVS, for example, is India's 3rd largest 2-wheeler manufacturer. But in the EV space, they're already the number 2 player. And they're launching Indonesia. And I go along with them because software is a single or an exclusive partner. You can't have multiple softwares doing reading. Like you don't have 2 ERPs, right, in your company to do this. So that's how it works. So same goes with Gentari. Gentari is Petronas subsidiary. They started operations in India. Now they are taking us to Malaysia.
So your focus is international, right?
It can scale anywhere.
Answers my question.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Could you speak to your business model and the competitive landscape?
Sure. So we make $45 per asset that is connected onto my platform. It could be a charging station, a swapping station, or a vehicle. Every time you do a transaction and pay for charging on the driver app, we take a transaction fees, like a take rate on it. And the hardware, if you buy from me, it starts at $150, but it goes all the way up to $2,000 actually. But it's open source, so anyone else also can start manufacturing. But they take software from me, so that's how I keep leveraging on my software side of things. And our vision doesn't stop there, right? So we want to digitize, create that core of the onion bulb, which has digitized a charging station, a vehicle, and the utility grid. So if you want to build applications around this connected ecosystem, you can start working. Like, I think few of them are here, right? She mentioned about getting carbon credits. You can do that ESG management. If somebody wants to build a routing system using the connected electric vehicle and its charging station, they can do that. I think she will talk about the connected utility system with charging in the next presentation, and you'll hear that, right? So those are the applications that can really be built with our core technology.
Great. Any more questions? All right. So much. Okay, so with this we move to the last pitch of our event. I would like to call Tech Uncocked on stage. You ready? Okay.
Hi. Reliable outage-free electricity for all is the reason why Tech Uncocked exists. So let's imagine this. A transformer in a part of the city suddenly starts overheating. It catches fire, plunging the part of the city in darkness. The EV charging stops working. The city essentially comes to a standstill. Why? India's power grid is not smart. It is not ready for the net zero transition. So what will change that? A tech stack which comprises of AI and AIoT can make the grid smart and predictive. And Tech Uncocked is doing exactly that. Sitting in the last to mid-mile of electricity distribution, Tech Uncocked, the IoT platform works in tandem with its AI engine to check for grid faults, increase grid resiliency and grid efficiency, and drive healing in the grid. We are looking at a $100 billion global market. Tech Uncocked is planning to acquire about $1.5 billion worth of market in the next 7 years. We have big players almost in the entire grid. I think there was a big gap in the medium and low voltage space where the solutions are very fragmented, and that is where we have looked at the gap and provided the platform. In 2023, we have executed we work as a hybrid platform as a service company, executed projects worth 200K AR, 200K in 2023, a target of $2.5 million revenue in 2025, already have commitments for $1 million for 2024. This is a team, very well balanced and an experienced team from semiconductors, intelligent devices, and software and business acquisition, supported by strategic angels and advisors, again in the space of AI, semiconductors, and finance. We already have raised capital about more than 800K and looking to raise 3.5 million capital, and looking to have an impact on GHG emissions of more than 30 gigaton annually in the grid. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your pitch. Now I would request the jury members to take on whoever is ready.
Thank you so much. That was really a very powerful presentation, Meenakshi, and you're working with power anyways. So my question would be, what was unclear to me was like, who are your customers from a business model standpoint? I did see some numbers floating around, and from a competition landscape, because I did see SME and the large players. So if you could just speak to that, please.
Yeah, so the electricity distribution utilities, which are primarily working in the mid to last mile, are the ones who are our customers. And we provide the platform to them. So our IoT devices sit on a substation, two-pole transformer, and the feeder pillars. Essentially, all the access points of the distribution grid. They monitor the grid for the anomalies, and then they trigger healing into the grid and also provide predictive maintenance. And what was the next question? You had another question?
The business model around that.
Yeah,
there is always a barrier to these kind of players. You're working with the customers. So just wanted to
yeah, it's a hybrid platform as a service where we deploy our devices. The platform is the overlay over the LT grid, and the IoT devices go sit in a substation or on a transformer, and it is a hybrid platform as a service model where there is some amount which is fixed, and then a recurring revenue from the software which is giving actionable insights, alerts, and the healing triggers and the dashboards.
Very similar question, and a topic that I spent 12 years with at Siemens, so I can appreciate what you've accomplished in such a short time frame. Maybe a follow-up to your question is, so is there a strategy to scale? In other words, are there partnerships that you are looking to establish in order to get into specific utilities? And with that, are those the smaller, medium, or large size utilities? Where I think the large utilities, are risk adverse, at times will only bank or allow larger companies to come in. So I'm curious if you can speak to that.
Yeah, so I think our strategy has been to begin with the private utilities. They are very open to innovation. They want to cut down their losses. The utilities are in India itself are losing $30 billion year on year. So there is a very strong drive towards bringing down those losses. So we started with the private utilities, and then we moved to the state-driven utilities, which are traditionally slower. However, there is a lot of funds which are they're being backed by World Bank, and we are just participating in those projects which are mandated by World Bank, so that there's much more action and much more faster participation of the utilities on that.
Thank you so much for your pitch. It's exciting what you're working on. Can you talk a little bit, the $100 billion market you were talking about that you were looking to get 1.5% of, is that just in India that you were looking at, or that's your global?
We would like to, we are working with the India First strategy, and what we want to do is once we have a little bit more of a footprint in this year in India, we want to actually start going to the global markets, because we see almost a similar problem existing in Southeast Asia, in Africa, and even in developed countries where the utilities say, hey, I want heat maps of how my grid is performing at different points. And a technology like that can generate those heat maps and can enable tremendous amount of electricity's data and how it is being used, and the troughs and the lows, everything is data which can drive a lot of innovations and changes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have a question. So what is your FTTF between the IoT devices?
So right now our IoT devices are designed for almost 10 years of life. And we have right now deployed over 360 to 370 sites, and I think that's have been performing pretty well. So it's designed for a 10-year of continuous operation.
Follow-on question: how do you power them? Because you are in a power situation now, right?
Yeah.
So, IoT device needs a major step down. So how do you go about it?
Yeah, so we have onboard power systems which of course take the power from the grid. The moment there is an outage or a cut down, it automatically switches onto a box. So there is an onboard battery into the system. It continues to operate for almost 8 to 10 hours, and assuming there's a continuous outage, and that's how it works.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. So that was our last pitch. I would like to thank all the entrepreneurs who took out their precious time to come and pitch at the event. I would also like to convey my heartfelt gratitude to the jury members for taking out the time to come to judge and ask pertinent questions to all the startups. The scores are currently being tallied by the judges. The Entrepreneurship Sports Generation Climate Track winner will be announced shortly by Mr. Shiv Khemka during the Khemka Foundation reception.
Is Kazam Akshay Shekhar? Please stand up. He is a brilliant young entrepreneur and is the winner of Perks and Rewards worth $850,000. And then all the other 6 participants each get $100,000 of Perks and Rewards as finalists as well. So thank you. You're the first winner of the finalists.